I was sure my partner was cheating on me long before I ever had proof of anything. It started the way it always does, late nights, phone turned face down, that subtle shift where someone is physically present but emotionally already somewhere else. If you had asked me back then, I would have said I didn't know he was cheating, just that my body knew something was wrong. We'd been together almost 6 years. Long enough that silence felt louder than arguments. Long enough that I could tell when his, "I'm just tired," wasn't about sleep. The first time I noticed, it was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays used to be boring for us. Routine. Safe. He texted me around 6:30 saying he'd be late again, no explanation, no emoji, nothing affectionate to soften it. Just those 2 words. Late again. I stared at the message longer than I needed to. Again implied a pattern. Again implied I shouldn't ask questions. When he finally came home, it was after 10. He smelled like soap, not his usual one. Not perfume, just clean, like a hotel bathroom. He kissed my cheek automatically, already walking past me toward the bedroom. "Long day?" I asked. "Yeah," he said, too quickly. "Sorry." That was it. No story. No details. He went straight into the shower and locked the bathroom door. I sat on the couch and tried to be normal. I tried to tell myself this was what adulthood looked like. Work stress. Fatigue. People growing inward instead of apart. But something had shifted. The air felt thinner, like I was breathing around a shape I couldn't see. Over the next few weeks, the late nights multiplied. His phone never left his hand. If I walked into a room, the screen went dark. If I sat next to him, he angled it away. He started taking calls outside, even when it was cold. Once, half joking, I said, "You know that's how cheating starts in movies, right?" He laughed, but it was wrong. Too sharp. Defensive. "I'm not cheating on you," he said immediately. Like he'd been waiting for the accusation. I hadn't actually accused him. Not yet. That night, lying in bed beside him, I watched his back rise and fall. I wondered if there was someone else memorizing the same shape of his shoulders. I wondered if I was already being replaced and just hadn't been notified yet. The worst part wasn't jealousy. It was confusion. He wasn't happier. If anything, he was more distant, more hollow. Cheating is supposed to come with a glow, isn't it? Guilt mixed with excitement. This felt different, heavy, grim. I started noticing the emotional absences more than the physical ones. He stopped asking about my day. Stopped laughing at the same things. When I reached for his hand, sometimes he'd flinch, just slightly, like touch surprised him. One night I asked, "Did I do something?" He looked genuinely startled. "What? No, of course not." "Then what's going on?" He stared at the wall for a long moment. I could see him choosing words carefully, like stepping through a minefield. "I just need some space right now." That word, space. It landed between us and stayed there. I nodded, because that's what you do when you don't want to push someone further away. I told myself not to snoop. Not to become that person. Trust is a choice, right? But trust erodes quietly. A few days later, I woke up around 2 a.m. and found the bed empty. The apartment was dark except for the glow under the bathroom door. I could hear his voice, low and steady, talking to someone. "I can't stay long," he said. I told her I was asleep. I stood there in the hallway, barefoot, heart pounding, listening to my name used like an obstacle. I went back to bed before he noticed me. I stared at the ceiling until he slipped back under the covers, careful not to touch me. At that point, cheating felt like the obvious answer. Almost comforting. Cheating would be simple, painful, yes, but understandable. Fixable, or at least endable. I didn't yet understand that I was wrong. And that the truth, whatever it was already sitting between us in the dark, waiting for me to stop guessing and start seeing. I started collecting evidence without meaning to. Not like a detective, more like someone trying to reassure herself she wasn't losing her grip on reality. Receipts in his pockets for places we'd never been together. Cash withdrawals when we barely used cash anymore. A new passcode on his phone, changed without explanation. When I asked about it, casually, he shrugged. "Security update. They recommend changing it." He said it smoothly, too smoothly, like he'd rehearsed. I told myself I was being paranoid. I read posts online. All those relationship threads where everyone jumps straight to, "He's cheating, dump him." I didn't want to be that person. I wanted nuance, context, humanity. So I tried to reconnect instead. I suggested dinner, a movie, a weekend away. Every offer was met with some version of, "Not right now." He was always tired, always busy, always elsewhere, even when he was sitting right next to me. One evening, I cooked his favorite meal. I lit a candle, which felt dramatic and slightly embarrassing, but I was desperate. When he came home and saw it, he froze in the doorway. "What's all this?" he asked. "I just wanted to do something nice," I said, suddenly defensive. "Is that okay?" He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. He sat, ate a few bites, pushed food around the plate. "You don't have to do this," he said quietly. The words hit harder than if he'd criticized the food. "Do what?" "Try so hard." I felt something crack in my chest. "I'm not trying hard. I'm trying at all. There's a difference." He looked at me then, really looked, like he was seeing me through glass. "I know," he said. "I'm sorry." That was becoming his favorite word. Sorry without change. Sorry without clarity. Later that night, I found myself standing outside the bathroom door again, listening to murmured conversation. This time, I caught a name I didn't recognize. "I'll be there tomorrow," he said. Same time. Tomorrow. Same time. Like a standing appointment. I couldn't sleep. My mind ran in circles, building stories. An affair partner with a schedule. A coworker turned something more. A secret life I wasn't part of anymore. The next day, I did something I swore I never would. I checked his location. He wasn't at work. He wasn't at a bar or a hotel. He was at an address across town, a residential street I'd never been to. I stared at the map, waiting for guilt to overwhelm me. It didn't, just dread. When he came home that night, I asked directly, "Where were you today?" He didn't hesitate. "Work." The lie sat between us, solid and undeniable. I nodded slowly. "Okay." Something in my voice must have given me away, because he added, "Why?" "No reason," I said. "Just curious." He watched me for a moment longer than necessary, then went to the bedroom and shut the door. That night, I lay awake replaying everything. The lies. The absences. The way he looked relieved when I stopped asking questions. I thought about confronting him. I imagined yelling, crying, demanding the truth. I imagined him confessing to cheating and me finally being able to fall apart properly. But some instinct held me back. A sense that whatever was happening wasn't fueled by desire. There was no lightness to it. No joy. Only obligation. A few days later, I came home early from work. The apartment was empty except for his laptop on the kitchen table, open and unlocked. I told myself I'd just close it. Instead, I saw an email notification pop up. "Tomorrow confirmed. Thank you for everything you do." No hearts. No flirting. Just gratitude. My hands were shaking as I scrolled. The emails weren't romantic. They were logistical. Dates. Times. Addresses. I didn't understand what I was looking at, only that it didn't look like cheating. And somehow, that made my stomach drop even further. I confronted him the next morning, not with anger, but with exhaustion. "I know you're lying to me," I said. He stiffened. "About what?" "Don't do that," I said. "Please." For a long moment, he said nothing. Finally, he asked, "What do you think is going on?" "I think you're seeing someone else," I said. He closed his eyes. "It's not that," he said. Relief, then fear. "Then what is it?" "I can't explain it," he said. "Not yet. The worst isn't what you think," he added quietly. After that, he became gentler. More attentive. Like someone memorizing a place before leaving it. I followed him one night. He parked in front of a modest house and let himself in. When I confronted him later, his face drained of color. "I'm trying to protect you," he said. "From what?" "From knowing what kind of person I am." After that night, the silence became deliberate. "I'll be out tonight," he'd say. I asked, "Is it illegal?" "No," he said, "not exactly." A week later, I answered his phone. "I didn't realize he hadn't told you," the voice said. When he came out of the shower, I was shaking. "I sit with people when they're dying," he said. "You're a hospice volunteer?" "No. I stay," he said. "At the end. Are you helping them die?" "I don't force anyone," he said. "I don't stop them." Cheating would have shattered my heart. This shattered something else entirely. We didn't sleep. "Why you?" I asked. "Because someone should. You let me think you were cheating. I thought that would be easier." I packed a bag. At the door, he touched my arm. "I never lied about loving you." "I believe you," I said. I left. It's been months. Some days, I think I escaped something dangerous. Other days, I think I abandoned someone who needed me. People ask why we broke up. I say, it got complicated. Sometimes I wonder if cheating would have been easier. Because cheating has villains. This doesn't. All I know is that I loved a man who chose something he believed was right, even when it cost him everything else. And I still don't know whether that makes him brave. Or someone I should never have loved at all.